Hello gamers, this is Tuba Antics. You guys thought Season 3 was the biggest update in Salem history. Well, today we're gonna smash that record with an even bigger update, with 21 roles getting changed, 2 new modifiers and 1 new role being added to the game. In this video we're gonna go through the Salem 2 Season 4 full patch notes, and the BetterTOS2 1.5 patch notes. So without further ado, let's jump right into the changes. Our first change is the ranked game mode. Ranked game mode will be disabled during the off-season time period, which is a month. Through this month, we will be trying 4 different role lists that will rotate for the ranked practice mode, mainly to get insight on which list performs better. All attacked but protected messages will no longer specify the attacker's role. Neutral Apocalypse roles are now mutually exclusive. We listened to feedback on this and we decided to go this route with one of the modifiers lifting the Apocalypse cap, which makes it work both ways. We're adding 2 new modifiers this update, and one of them is 4 Horsemen, which allows Epoch roles to spawn together, have a shared night chat, lose basic defense, and show suspicious to sheriffs. When the modifier is on, it becomes like modded Apocalypse, but without it, it becomes like Epoch acts as a neutral killing role again. The other modifier is Aim on players. This modifier will randomize all cosmetics. Players will use the name of their skin instead of picking a name. This is a ranked-oriented modifier which is aimed to prevent reg hunting. This modifier will be on the ranked list we will be experimenting on. All neutral evils will start with basic defense and lose at day 3. This is the defense clause from BetterTOS2, which encourages neutral evils to act quicker than going for the late game because they are going to lose their defense starting day 3. Alright, we're moving on to our next change. Effects that block visits such as jail parties will now use the generalized unknown obstacle message. For example, if you visit someone that's jailed, now you will get the unknown obstacle message. Same goes for if a Socialite blocks your visit, but be wary. Now your life can be an unknown obstacle in vanilla as well, just like this Investigator. Don't make your life an unknown obstacle. Shout out to Tekwin. Moving on to role-specific changes. I'm gonna start with the new role Oracle. For those who are familiar with BetterTOS2, it is the Oracle from there. For those who don't know how the role works, your ability is to choose a town role. You will barrier all players with said role that night. You may not choose the same role 2 nights in a row and can select Oracle only once per game. Non-town Oracles can select any role. As you can see, we have overhauled the art, the role's UI itself, the role's icons, the silhouette. It's completely different than BetterTOS2. Shout out to Nani for the art, he's done a great job. Anyway, our next change is Pirate. Pirate's getting completely overhauled in vanilla. It's going to become like Inquisitor in BetterTOS2. You start the game with 3 landlubbers. You can scour someone to check if they're a landlubber or not, or plunder them, dealing a basic attack. However, if you misfire, if you try to plunder a non-landlubber, you will lose the ability for the rest of the game. A question that was raised in the BetterTOS2 community was, what is going to happen to Inquisitor? We are not deleting Inquisitor. Old Pirate is going to stay in modded as a neutral special role, which basically only can spawn in True Oleni at this point. On the other hand, we have solved the invincible defense issue that existed with Inquisitor. Both Pirate or Inquisitor in modded will gain invincible defense once the final heretic dies, so if you get attacked when the final heretic dies, you will not die. Our next change is Deputy. In Season 3 we made Deputy unique as a temporary change since we didn't have any ideas back in the day, and now it's going to become non-unique again. Deputy no longer is going to reveal themselves upon a successful shot. Your ability is now to attempt to shoot someone, and you will successfully shoot them if they are evil and they have no defense. Otherwise you're gonna miss and you will be notified that you missed your shot. If your target is framed by an enchanter or soul collector, you will successfully shoot them even if they are town. But you will not die to Hangman because of this if this happens. If a deputy has successfully shot during a day and other deputies have to wait until the next day to shoot. So the aim of this change is to make Deputy fake claimable. Deputy was impossible to be faked until this change was added to modded. We've seen a lot of plays in modded where people fake Deputy to confirm their teammate, for example in the case of Death. The role is actually fake claimable now, and my own opinion is town killing roles should not be as strong as a T-bow. If you miss, you know that person is likely good and that is information to use in the game. Right, our next change, Vigilante. So this was a community requested thing. We listened to you guys' feedback about Vigilante being strong and did this nerf. Now Vigilante is going to start with 0 bullets, and you will have to load the bullets before using them. Loading a bullet takes a night and requires you to not target anyone for it. Vigilante will no longer die to Hangman upon a misfire, but they will just lose their gun now. People will say to this, for example, Why does it have 3 bullets? But like for you to be able to use all 3 bullets, you have to survive until like night 5. And like if you let a Vigil survive as an evil until night 5, then that's a skill issue in my opinion. Like this is a huge Vigil nerf, since they can't just I'll start blasting. No, they have to wait 1 night in between. This is a huge nerf. Moving on to Executioner. Executioner is now unique. Like unlike modded, we decided to take this route because we're going to use a different punishment here compared to what was it in modded. Executioner now receives their target day 1. Target always will be a townie and cannot be a town power or amnesiac. Amnesiac because amnesiac can become town power. If the executioner's target is found guilty, the executioner is going to torment their target instead of the hanging animation playing. If an executioner wins, the number of trials town will get, for example, is 3, but if an executioner wins, it's going to be 2 trials per day for the rest of the game. So we tried executioner cancelling trials for the next day, but I think for a fast-paced game like Salem 2, that punishment was a bit harsh. If an executioner's target dies at night, they will turn into a Jester, and that's coming back from Salem 1. Torments, we managed to salvage that by using it as a, leaving town animation when you get your target hung. But I think the most important part of this change is town will no longer get punished for playing it right. For example, with like the previous executioner, when executioner's target was Coven, and town got them hung, why should town get their town power tormented for killing a Coven, lynching a Coven, for example? That's why the roll did not work. Like the executioner was really scuffed, and like hopefully this is gonna fix it. Like the roll was designed to be anti-townie, and I think that's how it should work. And that's what we will see in vanilla now. Like this is basically very similar to BetterTOS2's implementation, but with a different punishment, and with the like torment animation actually being salvaged. So moving on to our next new rework, which is Medusa. Medusa is getting the buff from BetterTOS2, which is stone gaze now lingers until death. Which means if you stone someone, they will be inflicted with the stone debuff until they die. Which means day kills and hangs also can show stone now. For example, if you lynch someone and they have that buff, they have that debuff, I'm sorry. They will show it stoned when they're lynched. Town will not know their real role. Also, Medusa has gained the ability to stone gaze their teammates without the Necronomicon. So this allows for a lot more plays with the role. Honestly, Deception role's getting buffed. I'm all in for it. So let's see how this change does. It did very good in modded from how much we've tested it there. So yeah, our next change, Potion Master. So Potion Masters are getting a nerf where when you reveal players, they will be marked as illuminated, preventing a ritualist from guessing them for the following 2 nights. So the PM Rit interaction, we deemed it was far too OP, and Ritualist was designed to be a skill role, to like scum red players' roles. Like, it's a high risk, high reward role, but Potion Master completely eliminated that by revealing roles, so Ritualist would just get free snipes. So Witch will no longer be immune to Socialite parties. I don't know why it was immune, but it is no longer going to be immune to Socialite parties. Controlling a player reveals the role to the entire faction now. Since PM had that and Witch didn't for some reason. Revealed players that now will be marked as eliminated, just like PM, preventing a Ritualist from guessing them for the following 2 nights. As I said, like we're nerfing the PM Rit interaction. Ritualist can no longer guess a player that's marked as eliminated. By the way, I'll make one thing clear. So if a town power is revealed, for example, if you're PM and you reveal a mayor, they cannot be guessed, but if they reveal, the illuminated buff will be gone. So you can guess them after they reveal. Since that will be a BS interaction, I've already thought of that and fixed it. Coming back to the changes, our next change is Investigator. So Perception has been removed from Investigator, and Investigate is getting completely reworked. Investigate now checks for 2 crimes on the target. One of them is murder. You guys know it as blood. Attacking another player tonight. Blood was permanent as a attempt to buff the previous Investigator, but with this one, trespassing is stronger, so murder, like blood, is going back for that specific night that Investigator checks the player. Trespassing means the player has visited an opposing faction member at some point of the game. Trespassing accounts for the whole game, not for that specific night, which is what balances the ability out. This is the BetterTOS2 Investigator, and it has been tested and it has been liked by the players, so hopefully this is going to fix Investigator and Vanilla as well. Spy. So Percept got removed from Investigator, Percept is going back to Spy. Which is because Percept is a more spy-ish ability, which was on Invest for some reason. Bugs will no longer reveal what happened to a player or their passive effects, no more hidden effects. Bugs will now reveal which evil roles visited the player when they're triggered. For example, if a player is visited by an evil role, the spy will get notified of that. The reason of this change is spy was just a lot of information bloat. Like this change removes that the role becomes simple and straightforward since you will only get evil role visits now. Our next change is the Jester chatterbox mechanic. Jester is getting a new mechanic called the chatterbox, where you have to send a maximum like between 1 and 4 messages every day, or they will die from boredom at night. This change is aimed to counter the AFK Jester play, which is a very cheap way to win in my opinion, and Jesters can win without that. Also, Jesters are going to show as Townie. I didn't mention it here, but Jesters are going to show Town to every single TI Investigator. If a Jester fails to meet their chatterbox requirements before being hanged, it's going to say the Jester couldn't be bothered to get their revenge, and they will lose the game. Self-vesting is gone because Jester now has basic defense, innate basic defense for the 2 knights. The neutral evil defense clause, as I mentioned. Our next change, Necromancer. This was a change that was requested by the community a lot, mainly about nerfing goal. You guys wanted goal to be gone, because mainly it was ignoring multiple town protective roles. It was a menace, with like Hexmaster also existing, but Hexmaster I think gets a pass because it's a Coven power. So goal is gone. We have removed goal, but in compensation, Necromancers can now use town corpses infinitely. Necromancer will always take priority compared to Retributionist. Necromancer can use Conjure and Deputy now, like the BetterTOS2. Necromancer's UI also got changed when you reanimate people. We have added a new UI for it, as shown here. Our next change, Retributionist. Multiple Retributionists will now randomly take corpse priority instead of it being based on player numbers. So for example, why this change was done? This change, if it didn't do that, it would allow it would prevent Necromancer from taking that Retributionist, because for example, number one is Retri, number 2 is Necromancer. And when number 2 takes the priority, the number 1 would know that 2 is Necromancer because it's based on number priority. It wouldn't work. That's why we made it random, so they can figure out from that. Retributionists can now resurrect Deputy, if the Deputy has charge, you will try to shoot them, and if you successfully shoot, the animation will play, they will be shot. If you miss, you will be notified. But if the Deputy doesn't have a charge, it will do nothing. Retributionist also has received a new UI for reanimating, just like Necromancer did. Next change. Lookout nerf. Lookout is no longer astral. Lookout gets the camouflage attribute where Lookout and Wildlings will not see each other on the same turn. Wildlings also getting camouflage. Wildling got a bigger buff on modded, but we'll get to that when I'm in the modded part of the changes. Lookouts and Wildlings will not see each other. Soul Collector buff. Required souls from 6 to 7. Soul Collector will now permanently frame the players as Soul Collector. This will fool Potion Masters as well. If the target dies tomorrow, you will also get their souls still. If the 4 Horsemen is enabled, frame players will show suspicious to sheriffs. Prosecutor change no longer dies to Hangman. I am proud to announce that we're officially removing Hangman from the game. As I mentioned, Deputy no longer dies to Hangman since it's gonna miss on town rolls. Vigilante with the rework, it's no longer dying to Hangman. Prosecutor is no longer dying to Hangman, so Hangman has been completely banished from Town of Salem 2. I've said this on certain streams that I was willing to do it. I did not like Hangman. I don't think it was the right way to punish people. Being useless for the rest of the game is, I think, a better and more healthy punishment, especially if we want to slow the game down. Therefore, we first moved at the end of the day, but then, for example, Prosecutor lost his Hangman in modded before. Deputy rework, Deputy was no longer dying to Hangman. Vigilante, I think, was the only role that was dying to Hangman in modded. And now with the rework, that's also gone. So Hangman is completely gone from both vanilla and modded. Moving on to next change, Plaguebearer buff. Plaguebearer will now see who infects who at night. So I think Plaguebearer really needed this buff, and BetterTOS2 this change was tested. It has done well. I would like to mention a bug fix next to this. We fixed an inconsistency bug with the plague infections where roles that had higher priority than Plaguebearer itself, for example, all the role blockers, Socialite, Witch, that kind of roles, were not getting infected if they visit the person you infected. This is a small but indirect buff. In modded, I've seen on streams, for example, Auditor didn't get infected when they visited the person I infected and I won. This is an indirect buff, even though it's a small one. Now the Plaguebearer infection should be consistent. So I'm looking forward to see how this buff will do in vanilla and with the inconsistency bug fixed. Next change, Socialite. Socialite is now control immune. This was done to, we went to the BetterTOS2 Mod here. The BetterTOS2 Crusader is control immune, and Witch was not immune to unknown obstacles. We went to same rod here. Socialite is now control immune, and Witch is not immune to the unknown obstacles. Party rejection messages will be now unknown obstacles. This should reduce the socialite confirmability since, the party rejection message was one reason the role was so easy to confirm. And another reason the role is going to be harder to confirm is Poisoner. The Poison was going to get reworked. I think it was a bit obvious since Poisoner was in the teaser, and I don't think Poisoner, the role blocking ability, has a problem. I think the Poison being an extra kill was just a leftover from Town of Salem 1, and I don't think it was needed. So we're replacing Poison with Smoke. When you place a smoke on your target's house, every visitor to them will get unknown obstacles. When you have the book, when you use Smoke, you do not attack the player with your ability, even if you have the book. You are only immune to Socialite parties when you use Smoke, not when using the rollblock ability. You will not be immune to Socialite parties when your regular ability is being used. So this should put more doubt on Socialite claims. It should be make Socialite harder to confirm. That's the entire point of this change. And I think this is far more healthy than just an extra kill. Because I know some Coven leaders, for example, retrained people to a Poisoner just for the extra kill. So that's not going to happen anymore. That's not with vanilla patch notes, so we are moving to BetterTOS2 1.5, which was released in accordance to this update as a means of compatibility, but it has its own changes. So modded, first of all Season 4 changes that were not in modded are backported. For example, the Necromancer, Retributionist, Jester, Poisoner, Smoke, Vigilante nerf, PM Witch, Ritualist nerfs are backported to modded, since these were not from BetterTOS2. New modifier Lovers. So Lovers mode from Town of Salem 1 is coming back to modded. Players will be paired as lovers with a maximum of 4 lovers. Evils with Town lovers can win with Town. If only alive players all have lovers, the game will end with a lovers win. You guys are probably familiar if you have played lovers mode in Town of Salem 1. So this game mode is going to be a casual list next Saturday when the rotation happens in modded. So Pandora's Box is getting some changes in modded. We are migrating Berserker into Pandora's Box, where you can give the Berserker the Necronomicon now. And the Berserker, when Pandora aligns, can only attack with the Necronomicon until they become war. All Pandora kills except Transformed Apocalypse will say they were killed by Pandora's Box now. That is to make it not differentiable between Coven kills and Burst kills. Transformed Apocalypse kills will still show, for example, if War kills, it will say killed by War. It will say killed by Pestilence, etc. As a proxy to this change, Berserker will be unbanned from all Pandora lists in the casual queue. So Soul Collector, same as the vanilla now, we're just updating its souls from 6 to 7. I've seen feedback in the BetterTOS2 Discord about this nerf might be too much. If that's the case, I would like to see it in game first. If that's the case, I'm probably going to make the nerf only Pandora in modded. Warlock's also getting nerfed, but Warlock's getting nerfed in a different way. So I think Warlock was framing a lot of people. When 2 players are cursed, it has the potential to frame 4 people in one night when they're both seer, for example. And that is too much. Warlock has been causing a lot of chaos in games from what I've observed. So Warlock, maximum curse players are going from 2 to 1. But you still need 6 charges as Warlock, not 7. So with this way, the role can be less chaotic while being nerfed at the same time. And be on par with Soul Collector still. The earliest death is going to be day 5. Our next change. Judge is also getting nerfed in modded, where Judge is going to lose the vote. I know some people have been saying that this change is not enough, but I would like to do things one step at a time. Just see it in game, see how this nerf does. If it's still strong, we can nerf Subpoena, we can do more stuff. This is modded. It's easier to change things in modded than it is in vanilla, is what I'm gonna say. Executioner change, the punishment is gonna match vanilla now, instead of no trials. It was a variant of BetterTOS2 Executioner that got added to vanilla. We're just making Executioner on par with vanilla now. So Inquisitor, Egotist Townie may no longer be a heretic. I know people hated that because Egotist Townie cannot be killed by evils, because it's an NP. Inquisitor will gain invincible defense the night final heretic dies. The problem is finally solved. Both Pirate and Vanilla and Inquisitor in modded will gain invincible defense when the final heretic dies. So Pirate change. Pirate is going to stay as it is in modded, but I am reverting it to TOS1 Pirate. So Pirate's no longer going to be unstoppable in modded. It's going to be powerful. It can be saved by TPs, Baker, PM, and Tricksters now. So I decided to make Pirate a more Town of Salem 1 Pirate. I find Pirate being unstoppable dump. If Pirate got changed in vanilla, we might as well make it the same as TOS1 Pirate. No other reason than changing it. Because it's neutral special, it can only spawn in true all anyways. So Viling is gonna get a lot more information now. So Viling. Viling is getting a massive buff here, which I mentioned in the vanilla part that it was going to get a massive buff in modded. So wildling, now you add the players you visit to your scent. And you will get lookout and tracker info on whoever you have in your scent. Like, you're going to get a lot of info now as wildling. And this buff should be decent. I would like to see it in game first before, making any judgments. But as I said, it's easier to change stuff in modded than changing stuff in vanilla. Baker change. This is to adapt for the PM Writ nerf, since Baker also can reveal in modded. Revealed players now will be illuminated to whoever the Baker is aligned to. Since like the PM Writ interaction is getting nerfed, we might as well do the same for modded Baker. Baker reveals will be illuminated as well to whoever the Baker is aligned to. And that's it for the changes. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked the update. We put a lot of work on it in short time. But it's the biggest patch TOS2 has ever received. Like, even bigger than Season 3 at this point. So I'm going to be posting content related to the changes for you guys to see the game. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.